we present I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue, and your chairman tonight, Barry Cryer.
Thank you, and welcome again to I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue, the panel game that proves that life isn't all misery and bad news. It can be chaos as well. This is a clearly defined panel game with very tightly knit rules, and my name, of course, is Steve McQueen. At the piano we have our very own Mr. David Lee, and confronting each other we have two teams. On my left, listeners, you'll have spotted them on my left. We have first Mr. John Hello Sailor Cleese, partnered by Graeme Goody Goody Garden, and opposing them we do in fact have Bill Let It All Hang Out Oddie, and Tim Brooke No Argument Taylor. Let us plunge, gentlemen, into the morass of the game with the first round, which is rather evocatively entitled The Singing Sprint. A member of each team will be asked to sing a song as fast as he possibly can, and then a member of the opposing team will then endeavour to sing the same song even faster. The first contestant will, in fact, be Mr. Tim Brooke-Taylor, who is going to endeavour to sing Gilly Gilly Ossenpfeffer Katzenellenbogen by the Sea, the well-known firm of solicitors. Tim, see how fast you can sing the aforesaid David Lee poised at the keyboard.
There's a tiny house by a tiny stream where a lovely lass had a lovely dream, and the dream came true quite unexpectedly, and Gilly Gilly Ossenpfeffer Katzenellenbogen by the Sea.
It was all there. It was all there.
A couple of illies strayed there. I'm bearing that in mind, John, as you in fact to say the very same song to see how fast you can sing it.
There's a tiny house by a tiny stream where a lovely lass had a lovely dream, and the dream came true quite unexpectedly, and Gilly Gilly Ossenpfeffer Katzenellenbogen by the Sea.
John took longer, Tim dropped two illies. I'll call that draw. 2 points all, and we in fact now go to Mr. Bill Oddie, who is going to say that wonderful song from the film starring the immortal Eamon Andrews. The song is Do, Re, Mi. Bill, please.
Don't count that. Wait a minute. Just taking a breath. Do a dear, a female dear, Ray, drop a call to sun, me and name, I call myself, far long and way to run. So a needle pulling thread long, let it pull it out, tea, and me if we jam and bread, which brings me back to dough.
I made that about 6 seconds, 6-ish. Graeme Garden, would you do likewise?
Do a dear, female dear, Ray, drop a call to me and name, I call myself, far long and way to run. So a needle pulling and long, let it pull it out, tea, and bread, brings me back to dough.
Objection by Mr. Tim Brooke-Taylor.
Dear.
Pardon?
A femal deer.
A femal deer?
Yeah.
I'm going to make that a draw. I'm going to make the whole round a draw. 4-all. Too much gibberish about. The next thing I have to do is to set up something that the teams are going to do later in the programme. You'll keep listening. Late arrivals. We want the names, gentlemen, of rather silly people, or the silly names of people who are going to arrive at a certain function. Would you think of some silly people who are going to arrive late at the musicians' ball? The musicians' ball. And we'll be coming back to that later in the programme. In the next round was going to be on current affairs, but none of the teams had ever had an affair with a current. Please, you're not kind enough. This round is called tag wrestling, I should explain. Tag meaning tagline, the punchline, the end line of some story. I'm going to give each team the tagline of a story or anecdote, and I shall start with one team who must tell a story ending in their tagline. When I press my buzzer, the story passes to the other side, who must work towards the finishing line that I've given them. The winning team is the one who reaches their tagline first. Tim and Bill, your tagline: suddenly the moon came up over Bangkok. Suddenly the moon came up over Bangkok, and Dr. Muller closed his diary for the last time. Too easy, but that's the way we started. And at the same moment, simultaneously, we cry, Graeme and John are going to construct a story finishing with the line, wham! Exclamation mark. And the Christmas pudding disappeared into the Mersey tunnel. I'm going to recapitulate. They can't touch you for it. The Tim and Bill story finishes. Suddenly the moon came up over Bangkok and Dr. Muller closed his diary for the last time. And Graeme and John's story, wham, and the Christmas pudding disappeared into the Mersey tunnel. There's a sort of 10-second-ish air about this, but we will in fact start with Mr. Bill Oddie.
The scene, Bangkok, India. The chief character, Bangkok isn't in India. Well, there is a Bangkok in India, actually, and that's where... Don't distract me.
John Cleese.
Meanwhile, several thousand miles away, while listening to news of the events in Bangkok...
Tim Brooke-Taylor.
And the events that were happening in Bangkok that they were listening to was of Dr. Muller, who had...
Graeme Garden.
recently died.
You've got 2 seconds, Graeme.
It was Christmas, and my father had...
You mustn't get applause. Back to Bill.
And at that moment, the doctor came in and said, I'm sorry, there's been a mistake. Dr. Muller is by no means dead. Dying, yes.
John,
But
please.
there is a phone call from him from his famous footballing son Muller of Bayern Munich, who only this evening are playing Liverpool at Anfield.
Tim Brooke-Taylor.
But I digress, he said. At that moment, Dr. Muller, newly awakened from the dead, picked up his diary...
Graeme Garden.
Dropped dead. But his son, playing at Anfield, popped into our house to have a slice of Christmas pudding.
And said, do you mind if I turn on the television for a few minutes? He turned on the television, what should he see but Dr. Muller? A film of him, dead he was, but...
At that moment, the Christmas pudding was dropped. Muller, falling forwards from the shock of seeing his father on the television, struck it with his head and wham!
And said, I've never seen a football look like that. It looks more like the moon to me. It reminds me of a time in Bangkok when suddenly...
Oh, forget the story, he said, kicking the pudding. Wham! And the Christmas pudding disappeared into the Mersey tunnel.
Oh, give it to... Yes, yes. Graeme and John 2-0, but we've got to do that again. We've got to give Tim and Bill a chance to savour revenge. Tim and Bill, will you make note of this tagline? Suddenly he removed the Chinese mask, and there stood the Archbishop of Canterbury. Graeme and John will meanwhile toy with, oh God, she cried, how can I tell father that the monkey was French? Suddenly he removed the Chinese mask and there stood the Archbishop of Canterbury, Tim and Bill. Oh, God, she cried, how can I tell father that the monkey was French, John and Graeme? Let's start it the other way round this time. John and Graeme, if you've got your tagline. And we'll start with Mr. John Cleese.
Amanda was sitting in the garden one day, watching her father mowing the lawn, when she began to remember some of the...
things
Tim
she'd read
Brooke-Taylor.
in a book. It was Halloween, she remembered, the story went, and everyone wore masks on their faces. There was a tense hush around the...
Graeme.
At that moment, her father came up. What is this book you're reading, he said. Is it some French novel? You know I can't stand anything French.
No, she said, it isn't a French novel at all. It's a book about Halloween when everybody wears masks, especially Chinese masks, which have very little eyes, so it's very difficult to see.
What an extraordinary thing, she said, but there is another book inside, almost identical to this, which is... I'm surprised that you mistook it for the same.
Tim.
Mistook it for the same? Never, she said. It's about Chinese masks and religious cults in the West.
Graeme.
At that moment, her pet monkey hopped onto her shoulder. Father patted the monkey on the head. I'm quite fond of it, he said.
Quite fond of the monkey, he said, but let's get back to this book. As you will remember, Chinese masks have very little eyes, so it's difficult to see where you're going. And this fella said...
John Cleese.
To his surprise, in fact, while setting eyes upon the monkey, he was almost sure that it was an old friend of his that he had once met in Borneo.
Tim.
Then he remembered he'd made a complete mistake. He remembered, in fact, line 43 on page 92 about the Archbishop of Canterbury, who removed the...
Graeme.
Who had also been in Borneo at the time, as the friend and the monkey. My friend was French, said Father.
Bill.
Said Father, and a funny thing happened to him, because he was wearing a Borneo mask, which actually is very similar to the Chinese mask, and might as well be called the same thing, and that also has very little eyes, and it's very
Amanda, who was in the habit of shouting out extraordinary things for no good reason, shouted, "Oh, God," she cried, "how can I tell?"
Shabby.
Speaking of God, her father... Suddenly he removed
Name
the Chinese
dropper.
mask, and there stood the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Tim and Bill 3-0. The hardback will be published in the autumn. Now we move to the next round. By the way, we've had a lot of letters from listeners asking, is Tim Brooke-Taylor? I've been asked to reply yes, but not necessarily in that order. Now, the next round is called Word for Word. This was going to be a round for female impersonators, but Bill failed a medical, so I'm going to give each team a word,
Happy to say.
and they must immediately come up with another word, the other member of the team, that is, which has nothing whatsoever to do with the word that started it all off. So I think I'll start with John on this occasion. John, will you start with the word ostrich?
Cricket. Pentateuch.
Alcibiades.
Challenged by Bill Oddie.
I couldn't say either of the last two words.
I'll allow that. I'll allow that. A connection has been established. I'll allow that. 2 points. Let's leap over to the other team, and I'll say to Tim Brooke-Taylor on this occasion, Tim, I'll say earring.
Horse.
Jack.
Lever.
Pie.
Jack Lever used to open the bowling for
Oh, the glibness of
Gone
it.
past that.
2
the
points,
bottom
John,
word.
please. Graham Garden. Pterodactyl.
Parsley.
Grange.
Overture.
Spoke.
Light.
Elm. Sorry.
Challenged by Tim Brooke-Taylor. Were you sitting on it? I couldn't know.
I regret it, whatever it was.
Yes, indeed.
I think they should carry on.
40 points. One for charity. Now, but in fact, we will, in fact, yes, let's leap back to Bill Oddie with the word nib.
Lemming.
Clock.
Bat.
Elephant's foot umbrella stand.
Groan.
Challenged by Mr. John Cleese.
Could never have a foot if it hadn't grown.
Excellent. The power of that connection astonishes me. Let's go to
Can't give him-
John Cleese with the word wrist.
A wrist.
Wrist.
Stoat.
Water.
Pachyderm.
Buffalo.
Polyhydrate.
Buzz in
I personally knew a polyhydrate who owned a buffalo. You know Polly, she runs the...
Call a halt. I'll call a halt. I'll give that to John and
Polly's
Graham, 4
Buffalo
points to
Farm.
3. Now, each team will give the other team a subject on which they must improvise a 4-line calypso singing alternate lines. There are marks for this for wit and elegance of expression. We'll go to John and Graham first, who are going to regale us, although they don't know it yet, with the Christmas pudding calypso.
I had a shock on Christmas Day.
My Christmas pudding was going grey.
Old and wrinkled. And then I saw...
It wasn't a pudding, it was my mother-in-law.
round of Cole Porter spinning. And now we go to Tim and Bill, and they're going to give us, as they suddenly discover, the show-jumping calypso.
I got a first line. I went show jumping the other day. Saw Princess Anne, and I must say she did very well to get round the course.
Considering she didn't have a horse.
Give the age to John and Graeme there, 3-2. We go to the next round, which is called Sculpt the Sardine or Carry On Singing. This round involves individual players rather than teams. The first player starts a song, stops singing whenever he feels like it on a particular word, and a player of the other team has to pick it up on that word, but with a totally different song. Let's start with Bill, going to Graeme, and then Tim, and then John. So we'll start with Bill. A song, please, Bill, anything you like.
I belong to Glasgow, dear.
Graeme.
Ray, a drop of golden sun. Me, a name.
Name. It's not something. Name. But you must not believe me when I say there's a tree that lives.
You wrote that, didn't you? Just now.
He may have done, but it's bound for the chart. You'll be having that one soon.
Farrago
Which
to
lives, he gave you.
Is it my turn?
Lives, Mr. Cleese, lives. I don't believe a word of that.
Lives under.
Neath the arches, I dream my dreams away.
Stand yonder in New Orleans, in the land.
It's
Jim.
my land. This land is your land. How does the next line go?
You've never been a estate agent.
For the bell of freedom. Or freedom.
Abysmal. They've just lost their independence.
Well, if they challenge us, we can go on.
Let's
Freedom come.
let's call it. Hold on.
Freedom
Let's start
go.
with Graeme.
We win. Thank you.
We win.
The end of the contest.
Graeme, start a song.
Retired.
Lash them with a song, Graeme.
Promises. Do you know that one?
I don't know any song.
Promises. Come on, you know it.
Oh, the Camptown ladies sing this song.
Song. I'm about to sing a song.
You don't have to, it's my go.
Oh, is it? No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Song in my heart.
We're doing this.
Heart. Twice? I was helping you out. I won't ever again.
Hearts, the herald angels.
You have to sing.
Mind me, I don't like music.
Sing something simple.
Simple. Simple, Graeme.
Simple. Simon.
Prompting. You threw your voice, Graeme.
Met. They all met by moonlight, but that isn't a song, is it? No, met.
I'll hoot you there, Tim, and I'm going to make Mr. John Cleese, in fact, start a song, a real one this time, by way of a novelty, and stop at a particular word from your vast repertoire, Mr. Cleese.
We'll honour you at the school we knew, the best school of all. We'll honour you at the rule we knew till the last bell call. For happy days and holidays and sad and melancholy days. They were great.
Nearly the term ended, isn't it?
Great balls of fire!
Yes! Fire to Graeme.
Fire. Fire down below.
Below, 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 blow, blow, blow the winter wind. Thou shouldst not be unkind as man's in.
Man's in.
Men, well, in.
Gilly, gilly, oss and cats.
Bogan was
Bogan. Oh, no, I won't allow Bogan. I'll allow C.
Bye.
All right, bye. I'll allow bye.
by the light of the silvery moon.
Moon.
That can't be.
A moon river wider than a mile.
Mile.
Mile?
My old man said follow
My old man said follow the van.
Just.
And don't dilly-dally on the way.
Down upon the Swanee.
Swanee?
I'm going to make
How I love you, how I love you, my dear old Swanee.
Neat.
Swanee.
There isn't another, is there?
Swanee, those songs that...
Oh, God. I'll call a halt there. I'm going to declare the whole round as a win to Tim and Bill. Tim and Bill. 5. 4 points to 3. And in fact, gentlemen, you are locked in combat yet again with our tag wrestling part 2, in which we do as before, we give each of the teams the final line of a story, and then they've got...
Could we get in the parrot exterminator, please?
This is a monologue, not a catalogue. And now, we go to...
Cat? I wasn't a cat.
It was a cat to me for the purposes of what I was about to say. The 2 final lines, gentlemen all. Where are we? Ah, yes, Tim and Bill. You have, "So, monsieur," the dentist smiled and squeezed the trigger on his left boot. So, monsieur, the dentist smiled and squeezed the trigger on his left boot. And John and Graeme, "Dada," gurgled the Spanish tot. And then the trampoline collapsed. So, monsieur, the dentist smiled and squeezed the trigger on his left boot. Tim and Bill, John and Graeme, "Dada," gurgled the Spanish tot, and then the trampoline collapsed. Tim Brooke-Taylor's going to start the story. Go.
Bonjour. No, not bonjour. Bonjour, said Edward Heath. Bonjour, said the dentist, as the monsieur came into his dentistry.
I have here a bottle of whiskey. Would you like a tot? Certainly. Said his patient.
Bill.
Well, yes, I would like a tot, said the dentist. Well, you can't have one because there's no drinking in the surgery. Especially...
John.
But we could pop outside and go to the circus where there are some fascinating acts going on. So they strolled out from the...
Dim.
From the surgery and headed for the circus. Unfortunately, they found it wasn't in town that day, so they returned to the circus.
Graeme.
The dentist said, when I offered you a tot just then, of course, I wasn't referring to the whiskey, but to this charming Spanish child. which
Bill.
Which has absolutely nothing to do with this story. In fact, back at the dentist's surgery, which was, of course, in Paris, a spy came.
John.
What was the last thing you said?
Spy came.
A spy came.
A spy came.
And said, the circus is on its...
Come on.
I hooted. I didn't let him
seconds
speak.
worth of
I
that.
didn't let him speak.
He didn't let
Tim.
him. He said, sit down in this chair, monsieur, and I will try and open your mouth. Ah, your mouth isn't opening, so let me put my left boot in there to keep it open.
Certainly not. Come in. How do you do, sir? I just came to tell you the circus is in town. Ah!
Yes. And the dentist said, but before you go to the circus, you better have your teeth done. So, so that you won't feel the pain, I want you to sew something.
Sorry, so.
Sew?
So... He got into the seat and he said, look, the only thing to keep your mouth open is to put my left foot in it. And there's an anaesthetic in my left foot. So, monsieur...
I told you before, certainly not. Come in. It's the trampoline you ordered, sir. I'll bring it
You'll find it a great deal more comfortable. You won't feel a thing if you lie on the trampoline and sew this button on my shirt, which will relax you. And then I can... So, I shall give you this...
This is all very surrealist, the dentist said. No, it's Dada, gurgled the Spanish cop, and then the trampoline collapsed.
A convincing win there.
Sudden eruption of Dada there. The next round is, in fact, where we return to our earlier subject of late arrivals, gentlemen. Earlier in the programme, I asked you to announce the late arrivals at the Musicians' Ball. The Musicians' Ball. John and Graeme, any thoughts of the Musicians' Ball? I'm going to score for these as we go along.
Mr. and Mrs. Jean-Paul Dance. Dum dum dum. And their son Charles-Louis Dance.
Oh.
Another arrival at the Musicians' Ball. Mr. and Mrs. Trick Guitar and their son, Alec.
Too off.
Mr. and Mrs. Bumps-a-Daisy and their son, Hans, and Hans' niece, and Bumps-a-Daisy.
And also arriving late at the Musicians' Ball, Mr. and Mrs. Hube, and their notoriously pornographic son, sometimes known as Blue Dan Hube.
Do you realise what's happened? We've just pulled up to a draw. I know you're going to do more of these. I announced the result of the competition, a draw. They're going on. I knew they would.
Late
it's
arrival.
28 all to both teams.
And Mr. and Mrs. Tree Two-Step and their daughter, Millie Tree
And Mr. and Mrs. Evening and their children, Sam and Janet Evening.
Who are not admitted because they are too old.
In that case, Mr. and Mrs. Launo Jazz Music in here. And their mama, Donna Launo Jazz.
Oh! It's good night.
And also coming in closely behind them, their friends, Mr. and Mrs. Walls, came tumbling down, and their son, Andy Walls, came tumbling down.
That's it. Will you write it on the head?
Not to mention an extremely upper class.
Mention the one-legged composer and his shoe Bert.
That's it. So it's good night from John and Graeme, Tim and Bill.
Mr. and Mrs. Lynn and their daughter Mandy Lynn.
And a very posh family, Mr. and Mrs. Court Orchestra and their daughter, Palm Court Orchestra.
Mr. and Mrs. Logan and their son, Barry Logan.
Mr. and Mrs. Doctors Batten and their son, Conductors Batten.
Mr. and Mrs. Organ and their son Hammond.
Mr. and Mrs. Bear's Picnic.
That's it. Good night, all. Good night. That's it. Definitely. Round of applause.
That was Barry Cryer saying goodbye on behalf of Tim Brooke-Taylor, John Cleese, Graeme Garden and Bill Oddie. Dave Lee at the piano and producer John Cassels.